Most people think control looks like force. They imagine someone standing over them, watching them, restricting them. But that's not how the system works anymore. The most advanced form of control doesn't feel like control at all. It feels like freedom. You wake up when you want, you scroll what you want, you choose what you buy, you decide how hard you work. And that's exactly why it works, because no one has to stop you anymore. You stop yourself, not because you're weak, not because you're lazy, but because you've been trained to regulate your own ceiling. The system doesn't need chains, it doesn't need guards, it doesn't need threats. It just needs you to believe that the life you're living is the natural result of your choices. That's the trick, because the moment you think it's your fault, you stop looking for the pattern. And when you stop looking for the pattern, you never escape it. This video is about the most dangerous lie you were ever taught. The lie that says you're free. You are free to choose, but not free to win. You are free to try, but not free to break the rules that matter. You are free inside the box, as long as you never touch the walls. And the system doesn't need to enforce that. You enforce it for them. Let me show you how. From the moment you're young, you're rewarded for obedience disguised as effort. Sit still, raise your hand, ask permission, wait your turn, not because those behaviors are useful forever, but because they build a specific internal response. You learn that progress comes from approval, you learn that risk comes with punishment, you learn that deviation feels dangerous, so you don't need someone telling you no. Your nervous system does it automatically. By the time you're an adult, you don't need rules posted on the wall. You feel the limit before you ever reach it. You hesitate, you second guess, you wait. You think you're being responsible. But what you're really doing is self-censoring your own potential, and that's the goal, because a person who questions everything is expensive to manage. But a person who doubts themselves, they're free labor, they'll work harder than anyone, they'll police themselves, they'll compete with each other, they'll never revolt because they think the problem is them. That's why motivation content doesn't work. That's why discipline advice doesn't stick. That's why just work harder keeps people trapped. You're not lacking effort, you're lacking permission, and no one ever gave it to you. Think about this. How many people do you know who are incredibly capable but stuck in lives they secretly resent? Smart people? Hard-working people, talented people. They're not stupid. They're not lazy. They're just internally restricted. They can't move without certainty. They can't act without validation. They can't leap without guarantees. So they stay busy instead of dangerous because busy feels safe. The system loves busy people. Busy people don't ask hard questions. Busy people don't challenge structures. Busy people don't notice time slipping away. They're always working on it. Always almost there, always next year. And that's how a lifetime disappears, not through force, through delay. The most powerful prison is the one you decorate yourself. Look at how ambition is framed. You're told to set realistic goals. You're told to be patient. You're told to pay your dues. All reasonable on the surface, all lethal if you never question them. Because who decides what's realistic? Who defines how long dues must be paid? Who benefits from your patience? Not you. If speed were truly rewarded, they'd teach leverage early. If independence were encouraged, they'd teach systems, not obedience. If freedom were the goal, they wouldn't make stability feel like virtue and risk feel like recklessness, but they don't. They teach safety, they teach predictability, they teach compliance framed as maturity. And once you internalize that, you don't need external pressure. You'll reject opportunity on your own. You'll say things like, I'm not ready yet. I need more time. I should wait until I'm more secure. Translation, I don't want to feel uncomfortable. And that's the invisible leash, because growth always feels unstable, freedom always feels uncertain. Leverage always looks reckless to people trained for linear effort. So instead you optimize within the system. You chase promotions, you chase raises, you chase credentials, you climb ladders that never lead out, and every step up feels like progress while quietly increasing your dependence. More bills, more obligations, more to lose, until leaving feels impossible, not because it is, but because it feels like death. That fear isn't accidental. It's programmed. When survival is tied to compliance, rebellion feels irresponsible. And that's how control becomes internal. No one stops you from leaving. You just can't imagine surviving if you do. So you stay. You tell yourself it's fine. You tell yourself it's normal. You tell yourself everyone lives like this. And eventually you stop thinking about escape at all. That's the end state, not slavery, acceptance. But here's the part they don't want you to see. The moment you understand this, the control weakens. Because once you see that the leash is internal, you realize something terrifying and empowering at the same time. You can remove it. No permission required. That's why awareness is dangerous. That's why real education is rare, because once someone realizes that their limits are learned, not real, they stop asking, can I? And start asking, why not? And that question breaks everything. Why can some people move fast while others stay stuck for decades? Why do some people escape early while others never do? It's not intelligence, it's not luck, it's not background, it's belief. Not motivational belief, structural belief. The belief about what is allowed, the belief about what is possible, the belief about what kind of person you're supposed to be. Most people never question that identity, they inherit it, and then they defend it. They'll fight you if you challenge their limits. Because if you're wrong, then their suffering meant something. But if you're right, then they stayed small for nothing, so they reject the idea entirely. That's why breaking free is lonely. You don't just leave systems. You leave people who need the system to be real. And that's the price. Not money, not effort, isolation. But here's the truth. Most people never hear. You don't need to overthrow anything. You don't need to rebel loudly. You don't need to announce your escape. You just need leverage. Leverage is the antidote to internal control, because leverage doesn't require permission. It doesn't ask for approval. It doesn't wait its turn. It works quietly while the system is still training everyone else to wait. Leverage is why small teams beat corporations. Leverage is why individuals outperform institutions. Leverage is why some people compress decades into years. And once you experience it, obedience feels absurd. Because why would you trade autonomy for safety that was never guaranteed anyway? That's the shift. Not motivation, not confidence, clarity. You realize the system didn't trap you. It taught you to stay. And once you unlearn that, everything changes. You stop optimizing for comfort. You stop asking for permission. You stop negotiating with fear. You start building exits instead of excuses. And no one can stop you because no one was holding you in the first place. This isn't about quitting your job tomorrow. This isn't about reckless moves. This is about mental sovereignty, the ability to see constraints as optional until proven otherwise, the ability to act before certainty arrives, the ability to trust yourself more than the structure around you. Most people never develop that. They outsource judgment, they outsource risk, they outsource responsibility. And in return, they get predictability, but predictability is just slow decay with better marketing. If this feels uncomfortable, good. Discomfort is what control feels like when it starts to loosen. If this feels familiar, even better. That means you've already noticed the cracks. And if you want a clear framework for rebuilding how you think about money, work, leverage, and systems without hype or false promises, that's exactly why the Money Logic Playbook exists. Not to motivate you, not to inspire you, but to deprogram the instincts that keep capable people stuck. You don't need more effort. You don't need more discipline. You need a different operating system. And once you install it, the system loses its grip because it never had power. You gave it that. And you can take it back. That's the real escape, not freedom from work, freedom from invisible limits. And once you see them, you can't unsee them.